overwhelming to watch these kids grow up so quickly in 10 minutes right before your eyes. It makes you really appreciate how time just can fly by. I just know that this weekend is just going to be so special. And I want to first thank my wife, Teresa, for yes, yeah, for creating this and coordinating this evening and planning all the details needed in order for us to have this special event tonight. I also want to thank Shelley for all the details for tomorrow. It takes wonderful ladies and awesome mothers and a great bride-to-be to plan and coordinate all the details. The number of decisions were numerous, and they have laid out a memorable weekend for all of us to create some great memories that will be quite special. Teresa and I want to officially welcome Caroline into our family. She is quite an amazing spiritual soul. We love you and are so ready for you to join our family gatherings and events. One of the most recently, we hosted a Thanksgiving dinner at our house, and we played a version of cornhole in the backyard, and we had just a blast. I could see, watching everyone cut up and hang out. Caroline, I can see you fitting in so well. I will love watching everyone's paths cross this weekend. I see a creation of new friendships out there occurring, and the old friendships picking up where they left off. It's just going to be a great weekend this weekend. Stephen's path has simply been an absolute joy to watch. He was raised to go after whatever inspired him. Early on, it was sports, and later on has been his amazing depths of faith, friendship, and the simple love of life. He is quite an amazing young man, and Teresa and I are so proud of him. Thanks, Gray and Shelley, for raising such a wonderful young lady. I keep thinking of you both as we have lived such parallel lives as we raised our children to ultimately find each other. Really, these two have sensitive, caring souls, and I know they will lift each other up, encourage each other to enjoy this great life God has given us. It is so special that we are each here at this point in our lives enjoying our health and happiness at this dinner tonight. Oh, the roles we have all played in this young couple's lives, past, present, even future. Each one of you here tonight are dear friends and family that played a part in pouring love into Stephen and Caroline that formed the person each has been so attracted to. The mannerisms are so similar to me. So respectful, charming, generous hearts of gold. At the core of each of you, I know both of you have a passion for Jesus Christ that is quite inspiring. Stephen, Caroline, I see the spiritual maturity level in each of you. You inspire all of us. I, for one, can attest to that. Through the gospel, y'all have learned to love with depth. Your intentional growth is quite impressive. I know these two are so well matched, and they are so set for a fulfilling life together. While I can't wait to get it all going, I'll take others' advice, and I won't speed through this weekend, but I'll take it and unfold it out slowly and take it all in. Teresa and I love you so much. So cheers, Caroline and Stephen.
Well, I want to start by thanking the Irbies for such a wonderful evening and preparing this, but not only for that, but for raising Stephen. I can tell you that Shelley and I, from the time Caroline was in the womb, have been praying. We prayed for all of our children's spouse, not knowing who they would be or where they would come from. But I can tell you without a doubt in my heart and in my spirit that Stephen is the young man that we have been praying for all these years. And so thank you for raising such a fine young man. And we're excited to welcome him into our family. But I've also got a question, and I need a show of hands on this. How many of you guys out here were associated with or have been to J.A. Trench, Outback, or Legacy? Let's raise hands. Okay. That's awesome. I was thinking about this the other day. While my three did not go to J.A. Trench, we really didn't know about it in Decatur. I wish we had. But all three of them have married someone that was associated with J.A. Trench. And I just want to give a shout out for J.A. Trench. I love J.A. Trench. So, it's amazing. And I hope to go out there sometime. Shelley and I want to go to the Snake River or whatever it is, the big thing. So, anyway, Caroline, my sweet Caroline, being the first grandbaby on both sides of the family, she was very spoiled, very spoiled. I don't think her feet hit the ground very often, quite honestly. And if you noticed in the picture, she was wearing princess outfits most of the time. And so she was my little Princess Caroline. And we were opening an office in Orlando, and I did a lot of traveling down for that. So every time I went, I bought her a princess outfit. And so I got to play the part of the prince a lot with her. And even back then, I was telling her that, Caroline, I'm not your real prince, but one day you will have a prince. And said, you may have to kiss a lot of frogs, but you will have a, you will find your Prince Charming. And so through the years, she had kissed a lot of frogs along the way, but but anyway, also through the years with all of our kids, when there was a transition time, we would try to do something special with the kids. And one of the things we did from the transition from middle school to high school, we'd take them on a trip, and the girls we gave rings. Austin we gave a watch, a nice watch. But anyway, also wrote a letter, and in that I talked to her about her ring, which had an alexandrite stone surrounded by diamonds, and that this was a ring that meant something, and that one day when I walked her down the aisle, that ring would be replaced with the ring that she will receive tomorrow. And so I'm so glad that Stephen is the one replacing that ring. Anyway, she first met Stephen at Smith Lake. And we were, Kyler and Annabecca had several of their friends to our lake house, and that's when she first met Stephen. Caroline was actually dating a frog at that time. But I can tell you, and I shared this with the Irbies when we went to Jackson, but that's also when Shelley and I first met Stephen. And when it was all over and I'd met several of the people, I actually told Shelley, I said, I wish we had one more daughter. I said, I like that Stephen guy. But little did I know, Stephen, even from that time, had his eye on Caroline and was waiting patiently not in the shadows necessarily, but he was patiently waiting. I can't read my notes. But all along, we wanted and prayed for our children to marry someone who would not just love them, but appreciate them and support them and realize and encourage them to be the person that God created them to be, that they wouldn't change them. And we have seen that in the way Stephen has treated Caroline. Caroline is totally herself with Stephen, and she is so joyful, and Stephen brings that out in her. Just brings the very best out in my sweet Caroline, and that's what I was looking for in a son-in-law. Now, to talk about Stephen a little bit, we met him, and I told you about wishing I had another daughter. Well, I get a call from Redding, California, and from a young man asking permission to pursue my daughter, which impressed me. And I was like, yeah, you can pursue her. I like, you're all the way on the other side of the nation. This is the kind of relationship a dad likes, So, yeah, pursue her. But no, we had a great conversation. We talked about the Lord, what it meant to pursue Caroline, and I knew Stephen, and honestly, I welcomed him to pursue my daughter. But what a guy to call and ask me for permission to pursue my daughter. And Kyler did the same thing. I don't know if it's a JH thing or what, but it impresses a father. So, but from there, and I've got it in my hand here, the actual letter, but Shelley and I had sold our house, and we had bought another one that we were renovating, and we're temporarily living in our in-laws' house, and we call it the farmhouse, but it's on Clio Avenue, and all of our mail we just had sent to the house we're renovating, so we weren't even checking the mailbox. Well, Stephen decides to send me a letter and went to the extra effort to find out where we were living, which was on Clio Avenue. And this is addressed to Clio Avenue, to the mailbox we never checked. So I get another call from Stephen. Hey, Mr. Gray, have you gotten my letter? And I was like, what letter? It was this letter. And I'm going to read part of it because, and I hope you don't mind, Stephen. It's I did not ask for permission, but wrong one. I'm not going to read all of it. So, Caroline is worth every word and praise for the woman she is. A letter could never do her justice, but I'll share some of my personal favorite things about her. This was on 8/11/2020. So. Caroline loves with beauty and intentionality. She sees everyone's blind spots and is gracious and kind enough to authentically love people through their flaws as if they had none. I've been lucky enough to be on the receiving end of that. The Lord has used her to give me such deep revelation on what real love looks like. She is beautiful in every way. She has a joy that's deeper than anything that could ever shake her up. When she smiles, it just makes everyone else want to do the same. She brings the Holy Spirit into everyday life in a way that's real and authentic, yet not overwhelming or intimidating. Simply said, she's the most beautiful thing I've ever known. My relationship with her is the most beautiful, thoughtful, and meaningful gift I've ever received from the Lord. I'm blown away by who she is. And that's just part of what he wrote. This was the preface to him coming to Decatur to ask for her hand in marriage. And he pretty much paved the way with that, because how could you say no to that? But no, when I read that, I was like, and Shelley and I already knew this. Was it that Stephen knew our Caroline? He knew who she was, and he appreciated it and loved her. And he brings out the best in Caroline. And thank you, Stephen, for that. So, Caroline had asked me, or asked us, and some of y'all also went to Legacy, which I think is closer, Legacy School of Discipleship. And before Caroline went to that, she had asked us to pray some verses over her during her time there. And it was from Ephesians chapter 3. And it was basically Paul talking about development of your spiritual life. And I was reading through those this week, but then I went a little further. And in chapter 4, this follows exactly behind that. But this is what Paul said there. And this is what kind of my prayer is for you guys now. Therefore, a prisoner serving the Lord, I beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by God. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for others' faults because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together with peace. For there is one body and one Spirit, just as you have been called to one glorious hope for the future. So that's my hope and prayer for Caroline and Stephen. So to Caroline and Stephen, who are awesome as individuals, but are going to be so much more together.
Wow. I'm Sarah Reagan. If I haven't met you, I'm Caroline's sister-in-law. And I tend to be quite the mama bear when it comes to my two girls over there. Annabecca and Caroline can attest to that. And sweet Stephen has never once triggered the mama bear response in me, so that is quite an accomplishment. So thank you, Stephen, for loving my girl well. You would not want to see the side of me if you didn't. But not only that, for loving everyone in our family. Stephen has always been very intentional, which I so appreciate about you. He is someone who I just finished grad school, and I could briefly mention in passing that I had a test or what day it was, and I would get a text from Stephen, hey, I'm praying for you, or how did it go? Or he'd text in our family group text, just wanting an update. But always encouraging, and the fact that he remembered that, especially we have so many tests all the time, and he never once forgot to check in on us and just to be praying for us. I so appreciate that you not only love my girl very well, but you love us very well too. And that's more than I could ever ask in a brother-in-law. I'm just trying not to get emotional tonight. And then Caroline, I actually had the privilege of meeting before, I guess me and Austin had kind of met, but we weren't. He hadn't even asked me to be his girlfriend. This is in high school. And her and Mary Harmon actually came to a small group and were sharing their testimonies after they had done Greek Summit. And I just remember sitting there and listening to Caroline, and everything she said resonated with me. And I just felt like we were on similar paths in high school. And that is really what started a real relationship with Jesus for me. And I'm trying not to cry. But that's who Caroline is in my life. She always points me to Jesus and challenges me in my walk with the Lord. And I know the Lord would have found someone to point me in that direction, but I'm so thankful that it was Caroline because she was a friend to me first. And I'm just thankful that the Lord didn't put her in my life for just a season, but he put her there forever as my sister. And so I'm so thankful for you, and I love you very much.
I'm Austin. I'm Caroline's little brother. Little brother. Yeah, I like to remind her I'm her big brother sometimes. But I'll start with Stephen. It's funny. It's kind of ironic. I'm going to share a story, but I actually told the same story at Annabecca and Kyler's wedding. I was always kind of a protective brother. I grew up with 2 sisters and 2 girl cousins, so I was always kind of I felt like it was my responsibility to protect my sisters and my girl cousins, and come up through school and everything. I don't know if I played that role, but I felt like I did. And so anyway, Stephen comes around, and when you surf behind a boat, and people, jet skis will come and ride the waves or whatever, and when they get in close, I usually makes me mad, so I'll stand up and wave them off or whatever, because I feel like if Annabecca or Crown fell, it would be dangerous. So anyways, we're doing that one time, and a jet ski kind of came in close, and about the time I'm going to stand up, Stephen stands up, and he points and he waves, and he's, kind of doing his hands. And anyways, they go off, and to me, that was kind of a sign like, all right, he can protect. He's got his head on straight. He can protect her and is aware. So, which is big as a brother. But Kyler did the exact same thing early on in him and Annabecca's relationship. But, man, getting to know you, it's been crazy seeing how our circles, kind of my friends, have crossed paths with your friends and you at JH and at Ole Miss and in Birmingham and all over, and getting to know your family and everyone. No one has a bad thing to say about you, and it's not like you talk to some people like, oh yeah, he's a good guy or whatever. That's not how it is with you. It's he's a great guy, and then they'll go on and say a couple more things like, such a man of the Lord, or such a solid guy. So it's not always just he's a good guy. It's more than that, which it speaks volumes of, 'cause you can put an act on in front of the future in-laws, but when friends of friends are saying that about you, it speaks to your integrity and the man you are. So that was a big box you checked for me, and I was happy to hear those things. So, but Caroline, I was close to my sisters. It's a blessing to. They're my sisters, but they're also some of my best friends, and so that's a huge blessing just to grow up where you're excited to come home to your family, and it's like a party when you come home from college, and they're just catching up and stuff like that. So, Caroline was always. We tend to talk about things Caroline are going through, it always seems, which is kind of funny. But so she's always kind of the topic of discussion. So she's just always, for multiple reasons, but she's just always kind of the life of or the pulse, I guess you could say, of the family gathering. She's got an amazing personality, and she's sweet, and she's outgoing and funny. And so it's just great as a brother to have a best friend in your big sister. And like Sarah Aiden kind of touched on, I heard Caroline's testimony too, kind of towards the end of my junior year of high school on a mission trip, and it changed my life too. And to be able to stand up here and have my wife standing next to me, and for her to say that my big sister had that impact on her, and me able to say my big sister had that same impact on me, that's special, and something that I'm eternally grateful for. And very excited. We're just happy to be here to celebrate y'all and the solid faith that you two have coming together. It's just incredible. There's no telling. This weekend's great, and It's going to be so special, but going forward from here, there's just no telling what the Lord, just the amazing things he's going to do through y'all. So excited to see that. Here's Carolyn and Stephen.
Hey, I'm Anna Becca. I'm Caroline's younger sister. And yeah, just to kind of start off, so it's been an honor to just kind of have gotten to know Stephen and, of course, Caroline individually. So Stephen, Kyler will talk about their relationship a little bit more when he talks. But I've just had the privilege of getting to know Stephen through Kyler. They met at J.H. Ranch in 2017, which is right after Kyler and I started dating. And I remember whenever I met Stephen, I forget at what point I met him. It was sometime after that summer. When people would ask, oh, who are your favorite of Kyler's friends? It's like Stephen was always at the very top of that list. So much so that any of my single friends, it was like, oh, I know this guy named Stephen. This was obviously way before Caroline. But anytime any of my friends were single, I was like, oh, this guy named Stephen, he's the best. And that's for so many amazing reasons. But some of my favorite, kind of like Sarah Egan said, Stephen is intentional to his very core, honestly. He honestly just has the gift of insight. He always will kind of hear what people say, if that makes sense. Because sometimes if a lot of people are talking at once, things can kind of go to the wayside. But Stephen's always like if you say something and no one else heard you, Stephen is always going to hear you. And I think that that's something that's really special because he always just is always paying attention to the person who, I guess, needs to be heard, too. It's just kind of a gift he has. And always just kind of filling needs that he sees, too. And yeah, like I said, Stephen's just one of my favorite people in the world. And so that's a gift because Caroline is also one of my favorite people in the world. In growing up in middle school, high school, it was always one of my favorite things when people would say, oh, you must be Caroline Hughes' little sister. We do look alike, but also if anyone would tell me oh, you're like your sister in this way, or you're like your sister in this way, it was always one of my favorite things to hear, just because she is such an amazing role model and always has been. And so I've always looked up to her in every season of life. But it's been really beautiful just in the last 2 or 3 years that role model relationship has kind of transitioned to just truly being best friends. Caroline's my person. She gets me, and that's just a really, really beautiful thing to have in a friend, but also very much so in a sister as well. But I did kind of want to share, because Kyler and I, once again, kind of had the privilege to be a part of both of their stories just from the beginning. And it's kind of interesting transition along the way, just because it's kind of crazy how much the Lord was in all of the details from the very beginning. I remember probably in March or April of 2019, Stephen called, and I hope you're okay with us sharing all of this, yes. Stephen. But Stephen called Kyler and was like, hey, I think I have feelings for Anna Becca's sister, I don't know what to do with these, and was just asking Kyler advice, and Kyler, of course, told me about that, just because my sister, and I didn't mention that to Caroline, but it was funny because we were at the beach at sometime around that same time of the year, and Caroline told me she had a dream that she was dating Stephen, out of the blue, just had a dream, and then, I guess, we were at J.H. Ranch for a week during May that same year. And Stephen told me for the first time, he was like, Anna Becca, I don't know if this is going to be weird to tell you, but because he was kind of asking me and Kyler for dating advice and things like that. We'd been married for a month at that time. So anyway, we had so much advice to give, not at all. But he was like, yeah, just asking us advice and all of that. And we were just like, kind of asked him, like, oh, like, you know, like, are you interested in anybody? I knew, obviously, because Kyler had told me that he was interested in Caroline at this point, but I was just curious if he'd tell me, which he did. He just said, Annabecca, like, your sister, he said, I don't want to say that, like, I want to marry your sister, but I want to marry someone like your sister, and just talked about the quality she carries, which is her peace. I don't know if y'all have been around her. She just carries the essence of peace. So when she walks into a room, you can just take a deep breath. That's just who she is. That's what she carries. And that was something Stephen told me he was really wanting to have in a wife. And it's funny because when they first started dating, I can't remember if it was Caroline or Stephen who told me that Stephen had said this, but he said that he was just praying and said, Lord, like I was telling you that I wanted someone like her, and you gave me her. And I just think it's just the most beautiful picture of just the Lord's faithfulness and just how he's in the details. And gosh, he was working so much even before they even knew each other really, and I cannot wait to see how he continues to work in their marriage. So yeah, cheers to Caroline and Stephen.
Hey guys, I'm Kyler. I'm Annabecca's husband, obviously. Yeah, we've been on a cool end of the relationship here, with Stephen being like one of my bestest friends, and then Caroline being my sister-in-law. So I got like a cool vantage point, really. It's been really neat, a really cool journey. But it's been interesting though, like, cause he'll tell me stuff and I can't share it. I can share it with her, but she can't share it with Caroline. And so it's been an interesting dynamic, but we're past that now, cause they're getting married. So, anyway, yeah, so I actually met both of them around the same time in 2017. Like AB said, we just started dating, so I'd met Caroline, and then went out to JH that summer and met Stephen, and literally the first time I met Stephen was when we both had just gotten out there for summer staff, and we were cleaning out a stream with all these leaves in it. We were raking out all the leaves. It was a miserable project, but we did it with joy. Praise God. And but I just remember, like, he didn't know anything about me. We didn't even have a conversation. Like, he knew nothing about me. And he turned to me in the midst of, like, this group of people, and he was like, "You're called to be a worship leader." And I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so, like, that's from the Lord for sure. And I just, like, over that summer, just, like, cultivating friendship with him, and just hearing the Lord speak through him. I mean, he is he hears the voice of God, like, really well. And I'm sure a lot of the friends can attest to that. But he just hears the voice of the Lord so clearly for people. And he pulls the gold out of people too. Like, he's just really good at seeing what God created, what the passion that was placed in people, that God placed in people, like pulling that out of them and calling that out of them. So yeah, I'm honored to stand with you guys, and just this tomorrow is going to be amazing, and just to welcome Stephen into our family, and also Caroline has just been such a vital part of our relationship, and just watching both of you guys grow and cultivate just the Lord himself, like, in your relationship, and walking through hard seasons and engagement and the adversity that you face, but, like, in the end, the Lord gets the glory. So, like, yeah. But anyway, cheers to Caroline and Stephen.
I wrote it down. My heart's pounding, dude. It's, yeah. I'm just going to talk directly to them. Here we are. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Tweedledum's wedding. Harry and Lloyd. Man. For those of you who don't know me, I'm John Sharp. I am Stephen's former hip attachment. So and I'm best man .5. So I was watching the video, and I think that Stephen inhabits 90% of my memories. I think that every time I recall an event that happened to me, I think, was he there? Yeah, he was there. I think he was there. So, we spent a lot of time together. It's really crazy to be here. It's really crazy to see this. It's beautiful. It really is. I'm so proud of you. I really am. Caroline, I wanted to start off with some recommendations. I just have a few things to say. After living with this goon for a couple of years, many years, I want to tell you that, where is it? Oh yeah, just simple stuff. Leave enough water out for him. Remember to feed him. He eats a lot. Tell him to clean out his car. Remember to help him with that. That's really important for him. That's probably something that hasn't improved. A serious recommendation, definitely help him pace. Man, I was just thinking earlier when your dad was talking, and when everybody has been up here talking. Man, Stephen's always been the guy in my life that has been. I've never been a self-starter. There's not a whole lot of ambition, but Stephen's always been the dude who really pushes me, who really puts the key in the ignition. And who really calls out my dreams and says, you want that, and that's real for you. And I think my mantra is always, why do I get to have these people in my life who do this for me? And you're definitely chief amongst them, man. I'm just really honored to be in this place and to be with you guys. Caroline, you're radiant, and I just am so happy that my best friend has found somebody like you. It's kind of like Hal, like this bearded monster found such a beautiful woman who will take care of him. But really, it makes sense, and I've told Stephen that before. It does. It makes a lot of sense. You guys are just amazing together. You really are, and I love being around y'all. Caroline, I love your sense of humor. I think we'll laugh a lot together in the future, and I think that's one of the radiant qualities that you have. I know Stephen loves when you laugh, but I think a lot of people in here like to see you laugh. It's just really great. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say. I don't have a big story, but I just want to let you know, dude, I love you. I love both of y'all. And I'm just excited to party tomorrow night and just celebrate the beginning of a new adventure for you. The cowboy days are ending, and they're over. And thank you for being there. Thank you for creating a space for me in good times and bad. I really, really am appreciative of that. Love you guys.
All righty. My name is Caroline, the other Caroline. I have the privilege of going to college with Caroline. So we lived together my sophomore and my senior year of college. And college for us was the good, the bad, the ugly, the trying to figure it out, trying to find our way. And I think when just praying about what I wanted to say tonight about Caroline and the friend that she is that she is someone who is there for you in the good and the bad and the ugly. That she is loyal. That, Caro, you're someone that when, you never get jealous, like you are always joyful in the victories. Like you're always championing people to accomplish their dreams and passions, but you're also there to be the gentle, quiet shoulder to cry on. You're the in-between, you're the go-to person for anybody. You're, like your sister said, peace. Like you carry this aroma of peace and shelter and comfort, and it's amazing. And I have so many amazing memories of embarrassing you in the Tutwiler parking lot and blaring just hip-hop music and just rolling down the windows. And I think you're literally got in fetal position. To going and then finding the Lord and our lives being totally and utterly wrecked. And so, Stephen, what I want to say to you tonight is you have someone that's going to be your person through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm so thankful that she is someone like you that is going to champion her, that is going to love her, that's going to pick her up when she needs to be picked up, but just to love her when she needs to be loved. And Stephen, I've loved getting to see how joyful you are. Like, he literally walks in a room and it's like laughter. He lights up a room. He's like this little kid on Christmas all the time. And I love it. But I love how you love my best friend. I love how you take care of her. I love how she, like you said, great, like she is literally her best self when she's with you. And she's never had that. And I'm so thankful for your marriage tomorrow. And I know heaven's rejoicing. And I know the Father's in it. And I know he has mighty plans for your future. So cheers to the Irbies and their marriage and the life together.
Hey everybody, I'm Taylor. I have had the honor of only knowing this planet without Caroline for about 3 weeks. So our moms, beautiful Michelle over there, were kindergarten teachers together, and they were pregnant together with us. So pretty much we didn't have a choice. We were going to be best friends. Luckily, I think she's pretty cool. So we've been pretty inseparable since. And if you ask any of our teachers growing up, they would tell you the same thing. From kindergarten to 5th grade, there was 1 year that we were not in the same class, and the principals learned real quick that that was not cool. My 3rd grade teacher, Miss Baggett, had to call my mom the first month and said, Taylor just goes missing at 2 o'clock every day. And I couldn't figure out where she was, and then now I just let her go because she goes to Miss Williams' room to visit Caroline. Needless to say, in 4th and 5th grade, we're in the same class, so taught them. But anyways, that's just kind of the way it's been. She's always been my person, and as I was just trying to think about what to say tonight, it was pretty hard to pinpoint one thing, and it's just because she's been there through every single season. So through the good, the bad, the ugly, she's celebrated with me in the highs, she's been with me in the lows. Elementary school, middle school, high school, and then we were roommates in Tutwiler that Caroline was talking about. So she has just been there and championed me so well. But when I thought about something that I loved about Caroline, I thought I really love her honesty. And I was trying to think about, like, when's the first time that I really saw this in her? And I immediately thought of in, like, 5th grade, I don't know if y'all played upward basketball, but we did. And God bless Mr. Gray, who is our coach, because we just were not great. But anyways, so we're in 5th grade and we're in upper basketball and we have a game, but our moms for Valentine's Day decide we're going to let them get their ears pierced. That's their gift. Well, despite Mr. Gray's great coaching, we probably double dribbled the whole game because all we cared about was getting our ears pierced. So we go afterward and Caroline doesn't want to go first. So I'm like, selfless friend, I'll go first. Well, I sit in the chair and they pierce my ear, and then I look up and I see kind of like panic on Miss Shelley and my mom's face. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, sweet Miss Shelley, who's like a step ahead, is like in overload, like overdrive, while my mom's going to get help. The gun's stuck in my ear. So my mom's going to get help. Miss Shelley's like, let's talk about our course trip to New York. This is a great time to talk about that. Well, honest Caroline is sitting at my feet and puts her hands on my knees, and Miss Shelley's like pinching her in the back. And she's, hey, Taylor, I'm just going to be honest. The gun's stuck in your ear. And Miss Shelley just pinches harder. Hey, Taylor, it's bleeding. There's blood. And Miss Shelley pinches harder, and she's like, the blood's running down your neck. And I just remember, finally, we get it out. I get my ears pierced clearly. And Caroline sits up there, hers goes flawlessly, and we're walking out, and I just remember my mom saying, well, Shelley, at least she's honest. But anyway, so that's, ever since then, no, truly, in all sincerity, she has been my most honest person. And so I will leave y'all with something really quick. I'm sure a lot of y'all follow this girl. It's super short. I won't read y'all like Shakespeare, but it's a poem. And I just vividly remember reading it, and Caroline immediately came to my brain. And so I'm just going to read it really quickly. But it says, you're free to be both fiery fierce and gentle to the core, allowed to yell from mountaintops and whisper to the shore, allowed to stand up strong and tall and kneel by those who can't, for there within yourself reside both lion and the lamb. And as we know, they're talking about Christ being lion and the lamb, but I think the reason that reminded me of Caroline is because that has been her friendship with me. She has been lion so many times when she has been bold, and she has fiercely loved me, and she has spoken such truth and just stood so tall, but then she's been lamb so many times and just like crying with me and listening to me and being gentle and being humble and being sacrificial. And obviously that's Christ in her, but it's just this beautiful picture of Caroline as both lion and lamb. And she has just been that since day one. So I'm super thankful for that. I'm going to hold it together. But Stephen, I also just wanted to thank you because as I was reading that this morning, I just kept thinking Caroline has really grown into that. I feel like she's always kind of had lamb her entire life, but in the past 2 or 3 years, she's really grown to be the lion, like just fierce and bold and fully herself. And so what's cool is Stephen has been a huge part of that. A lot of that has been you championing her and emboldening her to be that. And so thank you for that. And also thank you for not only loving us just because we're Caroline's friends, but loving us as people. You're our friend as well. And so I don't really feel like I'm leaving my sidekick. I'm not losing it. I'm gaining another one. So I'm super grateful, and cheers to the Irbies.
Hey, Stephen. Caroline, I'm really glad you're here. Good evening, everyone. So, for the many of you who surely do not know me, my name is David, and I have the obviously shared honor of being one of Stephen's groomsmen. But infinitely more so, I have the honor of being his friend. I do love rehearsal dinners, and I think part of it is because you do get to embarrass Stephen in front of a crowd. It is a great opportunity. But I also see this occasion as particularly important just in that everyone who's closest to Caroline and Stephen can commend them and testify to the quality of their love and their readiness to enter into covenant. So I would be remiss not to seize such an opportunity. So Stephen, I'll forego the embarrassment for now. When I look back on the years of friendship I've had with Stephen, I've actually come to the conclusion that we should not have become friends. So Stephen, as I'm sure you know, is a big extrovert. I am undoubtedly an introvert. Stephen tends to wear his heart on his sleeve, and honestly, I tend to guard mine in this metaphorical iron cage. Stephen practices his faith with a wonderful, reckless abandon. And yeah, sadly, mine is more of like this slow, constant intellectual wrestling match with God. And I'm obviously heavily outmatched in that wrestling match. And yet, by the grace of God, Stephen walked into my life, or rather, he charged headlong in very Stephen-like fashion into my life. And I can say with the utmost sincerity that I am better for it. Because as it turns out, the stark differences between Stephen and me are what I treasure most about our friendship. And I'm now convinced that there is nothing more stagnating for faith or for character than to only seek out friends who are essentially the same as you, and friends who won't challenge you, friends who even have the same theological perspectives as you. And so, Stephen, thank you for keeping me from that cold, dark echo chamber of homogeneity. Furthermore, and definitely more importantly, I do want to share with you all just a couple of the qualities that I admire most about the two people sitting at the head of the room tonight. And specifically, these are qualities that make me the most confident in their decision to enter into covenant with one another. And so, Stephen, I'll begin with you, just because we have a little bit longer of a friendship. But yeah, there are many things I admire about Stephen. Some of them have already been said. His wit, his wisdom, his striking good looks, which haven't been mentioned yet, by the way. So I feel kind of honored to throw that one out there. But what I actually admire most about Stephen, and what makes me most confident in him taking on this role as a husband, are two things. One, his childlike faith, and two, the depth and consistency with which he pursues his relationships. Now, I know that nobody really likes to be called childlike in just about anything. It's not the best adjective, but hear me out. So I'm sure we all know the passage in Scripture where Christ calls a child to himself, and he addresses the crowd saying, unless you become like a child, you will not see the kingdom of God. And so, Stephen, what this means, or as I was kind of reflecting on this, is that your childlike faith should never be misunderstood as being naive or absent of fear or unaware of the evil in the world or the sin in your own heart, but rather that your faith is characterized by the fact that when you are faced with fear and adversity and uncertainty, that like a child, you actually turn to your Father and not to yourself. I've witnessed you do this over and over again, and I can promise there is nothing more important for your marriage than a faith that clings to the Father. So, secondly, and similarly, Stephen, I deeply admire the way that you pursue and navigate your relationships. And a much wiser man than me once said that the two key ingredients to a healthy relationship are depth and consistency. And I don't even have to get into that. We can all attest. We've heard it Stephen's intentional. He listens. And so we can all attest to the depth and consistency with which you pursue all relationships with your friends, your family, your beloved. And that too, of course, will serve you well in marriage. Now, Caroline, to you. So I do have to confess, Caroline and I have met one time. And at the same time, I think we can agree that it only takes one conversation or one interaction for you to see very clearly the admirable qualities that the Holy Spirit has gifted her. And so I got to do that. And so of the many qualities that have already been mentioned and the many more that will be commended by friends and family who are much closer to her than I am, I fully acknowledge that. I would like to emphasize, too, that I did get to witness in that one time we hung out and ate pizza together. And when we did that, so the first thing, Caroline, is your emotional intelligence. The second is your resilience, but I'll start with the first one. So when we had our pizza dinner, Stephen, Caroline, and I were talking about this thing called the Enneagram. I'm a 5, so I hate the Enneagram, but, and for those of you who don't know what that is, and the many more of you who do not care one bit what that is, it's basically, we talked about our personalities, and specifically how these personalities work themselves out in Christ-centered relationship. And there were a lot of things that I took away from that about Caroline, but the first thing that hit me was like, oh yeah, he's got a really sharp woman on his hands. That's really great. So that's good. Second thing, Caroline, it demonstrated to me that you have a keen sense of who you are and whose you are, and you knew the same thing for Stephen. And so on a much deeper level, that is indicative of you actually being somebody who is seeking the truth, no matter how painful or how joyful that truth is, and the truth about yourself, about Stephen, about God. And I know from marriage that, you know, it is so much more than just knowing mannerisms and idiosyncrasies and what's on the surface. There's so many more layers to that, and you have that. You exemplify that very admirably. Secondly, and what I actually think is more important, and I witnessed this to some extent, but this is more coming from Stephen's testimony to y'all's relationship, is your resilience. You really do have this God-ordained sense of resilience. And I know that there are probably times where you struggle to believe that about yourself, because we all do. But let me say with the highest confidence that the way that you've navigated your relationships and the way you've carried yourself in the face of adversity has been full of this God-ordained resilience. And that resilience, which, you know, with toughness and courage that accompanies it, is actually undergirded by this deep faith in God's sovereignty and His goodness. And I can just say from my own personal experience in marriage that too is essential. And so to both of you, my prayer is this, that you would continue to seek the Lord, seek each other with your childlike faith, with depth and consistency, with emotional intelligence and truth-seeking, and with this resilience to work through life's hardships and experience fully the joy set before you. So I love you, and I raise my metaphorical glass to you. Cheers.
Hey everyone, my name is Sarah Gable.
I'm Virginia.
And we're one of Caroline's bridesmaids. And we just wanted to start and share that there's a lot of Carolines in the world, but there's truly none like this Caroline that we're celebrating tonight. And Stephen, we know that you probably know that already, but we thought it would probably be helpful just to make sure for us to just spell out how incredibly amazing Caroline is. So we're going to do that by spelling out Caroline. C stands for what, Farlow?
C stands for charming. Caroline has charmed every boy she's ever met.
Literally every boy.
All right, you're stealing my letter. Yeah, she's charmed all the boys, all the frogs, like Mr. Gray said. Lots of frogs. And we used to joke in college, like, Caroline needs to write a book, like, how to get a guy to fall in love with you, because every guy she met would fall in love with her. And she would sprinkle magic fairy dust, and every guy would be falling in love with her. But Caroline has so much charm, and Stephen, you're lucky. You are the last guy she will sprinkle the magic fairy dust over.
That's true.
And make her fall in love with him. And Caroline just has a charm about her that is undeniable, that's contagious, that just lights up a room. And it's truly like no other.
And you can't help that you're so cute. But A for Caroline is ambitious. Caroline is extremely ambitious in everything that she puts her heart and soul and her mind to. She is ambitious with her running goals. She's ambitious with her schooling, with her job, with her relationships, but most importantly, with her relationship with the Lord. And I do have to read this verse because I really do think about you every time I read this. In Hebrews 12:1, it says, "Let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith." And that describes you so well because you are so ambitious in your love for God, and you run the race so beautifully, which leads us into the next letter. It sets it up perfectly.
R is for runner. Caroline loves to run, like we all know. I think the Bachelorette, they picked her up at 1 o'clock to leave, and I think she went on a run at 12:50 and planned on running like 4 miles in 10 minutes. So everybody knows that Caroline loves to run. Stephen, you need to make sure you honor this and you carve out enough time in y'all's day to give her those runs because her mental health needs it. Caroline talks to Jesus in those runs. She listens to her music. She debriefs. She collects her thoughts. And Caroline needs those runs. And she'll be late to things, but she's got to have the run in order to stay sane. So our runner, got to stay with it.
And O stands for obedience. She is obedient to the Lord. She truly is. Caroline loves the Lord with all of her heart, all of her mind, and all of her soul. She is all in with Jesus. She says yes to God with everything. And Stephen, I know you know that, but that is one of my personal favorite qualities of Caroline is how she will drop everything for Jesus. And she's done that over and over and over again in her life. And it has been so inspiring to watch you every single day, Caroline, fall more in love with Jesus. So thank you for your obedience to the Lord and your obedience to say yes to this man tomorrow, because it's going to be amazing.
L is loyal. Caroline is a loyal friend. No matter what, how much time's passed, we just pick up where we left off. Even if I text her like 5 times in a row and she doesn't respond, I know if I really need her, Caroline will be there. She's not the best texter, but if you really harass her enough, she's always there. She's there when it matters.
It's true.
We're not great with our phones these days, so it's tough. But I know Caroline's there when it matters, and sometimes it just takes like a 4th or a 5th text just to remind her and let her know you still exist. So Caroline's loyal. When it comes down to it, she's always going to be there. She's always going to be a shoulder to cry on, someone to champion you, and someone to be excited and share joy with you. And throughout our entire friendship, I don't even know, like 10 years now, she's always there. She's loyal, friend, and you never have to wonder if she's going to be there for you or not, because you always know that she'll be there. Even if you have to like quadruple text her, she'll be there.
And I for Caroline stands for intentional, which we've heard a lot tonight, but it's so true, Caroline. I so appreciate how intentional you are with everything that you do. You're intentional with your friendships, you're intentional with your family, you're intentional with the Lord, and you're going to be such an intentional wife.
All right, wrapping it up. N is for nature. Where did I say you were going to get married? Jemison Trail. We're not at Jemison Trail, but your engagement pictures were at Jemison Trail, so you basically got married there. All those pictures are from Jefferson Trail. But we're in nature, we're in Smith Lake, we're in the trees. It's so beautiful. Caroline always just be like, but the trees, did y'all see the trees? We're like, what? No, I didn't see the trees. Caroline always stops, takes a step back, and always appreciates nature. She always is appreciating what's around her. So Stephen, I mean, y'all got engaged in Rough Mountain. You already are in the nature and all that stuff. So I don't have to tell you that. But I love how Caroline will always take a step back from this crazy, busy, loud world with all the lights, camera, and all the things, and always stop back and look at nature. Also said Emma's going to be for nerdy too. So, you know, Caroline's a little nerd. She's got her little things that she likes, but I'll go in for nature. And ending it up with E is everlasting love. We just love y'all so much, and we are so excited for the love that you guys share together. And it's just the beginning of y'all's everlasting love together. So cheers to Caroline and Stephen. We love y'all so much.
We love y'all.
Cheers. We didn't bring a drink.
Hey, everyone. You gonna say hi?
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Okay, so if y'all don't know us, my name is Kat.
And my name is Hannah.
And we are
The ex-roommates.
So Caroline just broke up with us not too long ago.
We're going through the grieving process, everybody.
And so, anyways, but Stephen, you gained a really great roommate, so.
Congrats to you.
Congrats. Do you have need any advice for, Caroline's roommate quirks and how to live together? Let us know.
I feel like you already know one of them. You always have to have coffee ready for her. I think like one of the stipulations is you have to bring it to her in bed. That's what I heard. I don't know.
That's a good one. But another thing I have to say, Aunt Caroline, you have won Employee of the Month for the month of February. We normally do an Employee of the Month every month, and Caroline wins this month. So, anyways, we could share lots of inside jokes and lots of stories about Caroline and Stephen, but I just want to make one main point about you two, is that I think Kyler said it, but like y'all both hear the voice of the Lord so clearly. So many times Caroline would come into my room and she's like, I had a dream that I saw 2 angels standing in front of your door, and just went into just declaring so much over me and Caroline hears from the Lord so clearly, and so many times she would just speak so much over me, and Stephen so many times would be so encouraging and would always listen to anything that was going on in the house. So you guys are such a power team, and I value your words, and you're going to speak so much life into everyone around you, and I just adore you two so much.
Caroline has been my longest running roommate in the Hollywood house, for those who have visited. So she's very special. The house is going to miss her a whole lot. We're going to miss her a whole lot. But more so, I'm going to miss her a whole lot. Caroline, you're just one of the most special people in the entire universe. You do carry so much peace. I think that's been spoken of about you several times tonight. You carry so much peace and so much grace. You are the first to administer grace. And it's not even you don't have to administer it. You just live in it. And people don't even recognize it, but those close to you just can see it. Everyone can see it, but people close to you can really just know how much you give. Stevie, friend, you found a good one. And I love you so much, and I'm so excited for y'all's marriage and just what y'all are going to do together. And I do think that this really is, I know this is cheesy, but
the truth of it is like a match just made in heaven. I really feel like God has really placed all together for a specific purpose, and y'all mesh so well, and you complement each other so well, and y'all just both exude the Father so well, and I just feel Holy Spirit like everywhere. Every time y'all leave a room, I'm like, oh, here he was, there he is, period. And so, yeah, we just love y'all so much. I love you so much. Henry is so sad. He just goes to your door and just sniffs and just sad. Henry's my dog. Anyways, we love you. We're so excited for tomorrow.
I love you guys. Cheers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Reed. I'm a friend of Steven's from college. Ole Miss. Go Rebels. Oh, Steve. Man, I love the heck out of you, bro. Whew. You'd mean so much to me. Steve and I met freshman year at Ole Miss. The very first time that we met, he wanted to talk about Jesus. And then the next time, he wanted to talk about Jesus. And the next time, and pretty much every time up until now, he's just always wanted to talk about Jesus. And in a way, he taught me how to talk about Jesus. I mean, you so live under the control and belief in the true sovereignty of God. And you taught me that, man. You instilled that in me. And I mean, coming into freshman year, I felt all cool, and you made me feel cool, man. You championed me. You met me where I was, and you taught me about Jesus, and you were always there and ready and prepared just to sit with me and have conversation with me and walk with me, and we learned so much together. We grew so much together. I mean, there was a period of time, y'all, where Steven wore blue corduroy pants, blue shirt, blue pullover, blue hat, blue backpack, and walked in public. And he looks so good tonight, and that is testimony in itself right there. He's a beautiful man, and I'm very proud of him and that journey in itself. But, man, so Steve, man, I feel like I could stand up here for days and have moments of silence and moments of where I just can't stop talking just about ways that you have blessed me. You are so special, and I treasure your relationship and your friendship, and I hold it so closely to my heart, and I desperately hope that one day the two of you and the two of us end up in the same city, because, yeah, that's just what's gonna happen. But Caroline, I think I've spent a collective 3 hours with you, but I feel so familiar with you. You carry just this comfort and security that just makes people feel well loved. I mean, I guess it was a couple of months ago where we met up in Birmingham on the way through, and just afterwards, I felt like Hartley and I were just a couple of hours away from saying, I think Caroline's one of our best friends. You know? I mean, you're just like that. You give and you listen, and you're so wonderful and so radiant, like everybody tonight has been saying. I believe in y'all so much. I'm so happy for you two. So honored to be here standing with you guys this weekend. Y'all are truly so special. I really cannot say enough about what you guys mean to me and what I want you guys to mean to me for the rest of my life. I want you guys to be a part of my life forever. Let's move in together. Just kidding, that would be weird. Man, I love you guys. Cheers to the Irbies. Blessings to everyone.
Man, I think we could be up here all night talking about how much we love all of them. But I had to come up here and just talk about my relationship with Caroline. And so, anyways, my name is Mary Harmon Muir Taylor, and me and Caroline have known each other since freshman year. I knew of her before college. Everyone knew of Caroline Hughes. She was just this cute, fit coyote that all the girls and guys wanted to know. So I wanted to be good friends with her. But we didn't become best friends till the summer after freshman year. We went on a summer project together with Campus Crusade, a ministry at Alabama. And I was super excited when I found out that Caroline was also going to be joining. And sorry, I wrote all my thoughts out because I had so many things to say. But yeah, I was super excited to find out that she would also be joining the summer project and hoping that we would become friends. Sure enough, the first night, I think we hit it off and became friends very early on in the summer project. But during that trip, I experienced one of the most beautiful memories of my life, and that was when Christianity just truly clicked for me. It was a super pivotal point in my life, and Caroline just held my hand all the way through it. We went through a really powerful time together, and at that trip, we committed to be accountability partners going back to Tuscaloosa. And as you all know, if you've been to Tuscaloosa, you need an accountability partner. And Caroline was my girl. It was crazy. That trip was only 2.5 weeks, but after it, I was like, wow, like I feel like I've known Caroline my whole life. And through that moment on, she was one of my spiritual rocks throughout college. Don't know if I could have tackled T-Town without her, but we really did go through the deepest hurts and the biggest highs of life. And I really don't know if I could have done it without her. But then we also ran a lot of half marathons in between, and there was so many days, if not every day. She lived in the Cayo house, and I lived in the Alpha house, and we would meet in between at the KD house and run before the sun even came up. And I think I dragged Hannah out of bed most of the times too. But when I think of college, I just can't not think of Caroline being through all of the ups and the downs and everything in between. So I know that honestly I could say a million memories of her, but I did want to wrap it up with 3 things. Just 3 words that I think of Caroline, or that when I think of Caroline that I think of. And number 1 is just authentic. And if you know Caroline, you know that about her. She's super genuine and just refreshing to be around. Every time I'm around her and walk away, my cup is filled up. It really is. Number 2, faithful. She's always praying for her people. I mean, constantly asking, how can I be praying for you? Always, even during the busiest times of her life, she's always making time. I think Hannah and I have talked about that before. Like, even when she's like the busiest she's ever been in her entire life, she's always just running to the Lord and always making time, which can be hard, but Caroline always makes time. And the 3rd thing is loyal. She's incredibly loyal, loyal to her people, and Stephen, I know she's going to be incredibly loyal to you. Stephen, I know you know this, but you got yourself a 10 out of 10 catch. I hate that COVID messed us up and we haven't gotten to spend as much time as I want to with you, but I look forward to forming so many memories with you and Caroline and my husband, Tom. Ever since Caroline met you and talked about you, all of our friends knew you were the one. And Caroline wasn't going to settle. She was going to wait for her guy. And we knew. I mean, the moment she talked about you, we're like, this is it. Like, it's history. When are they getting married? and just all that she says about you. I know you're equally as amazing, and y'all are going to do so much for the kingdom of God, and just so excited for y'all, and be praying for y'all, and I know tomorrow's going to be perfect, and just excited to be part of it.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing out there? Good? I'm John Wilson. I'm having a freaking great time, I'm gonna be honest. I just want to say, I don't know where Pastor Jay is. I don't even know if he's still here. But, dude, the Holy Spirit is on you, and the way you just ushered us into this night with that opening prayer, like when you said, let's pray, and you just hit us with that, it is good. I just felt the Holy Spirit descend on this place. And these things people are saying about you are not things that they could just come up with on the spot. It's things that y'all have lived and that they're getting to speak truth into you to encourage you as we launch you into marriage. So I just want to say, surely the presence of the Lord is in this place, and this is a moment of worship. Tonight and tomorrow, as we celebrate and hold you accountable to this covenant you're making to each other and to the Lord, it is like, yes, it is so beautiful. It's an act of worship, and I know y'all are excited to step into it, and we're thrilled to watch you step into it and to encourage you along the way. This laugh right here is why I love Stephen Irby. It's so good. His joy is so infectious, and it's so just encouraging to me to see you living this moment, like to just be living it to the full. One of the ways you've impacted me the most, and one of the things I appreciate about you the most, is your willingness to dream with the Lord. I'm not much of a dreamer, but you have just dreamed the biggest dreams, and you have risked so much, and you've hurt so much, and asked so many hard questions, but you've never given up. You've always said yes. You've always believed the Lord's heart for you. And He's got you, dude. He's even better than you know He is. And He's going to continue to reveal that to you. But your pursuit of that and your obedience to Him tonight is His tangible gift to you. You know that. But He's literally letting you live your biggest dream by marrying Caroline. And that's amazing. And so I'm really honored to get to stand next to you in that. Frick, I love you so much. There's so many things I want to say. You know all of them already. But I just want to affirm just the way you pursue the Lord, the way you say yes to Him. You've taught me so much about the importance of silence and prayer, but also like loud prayer. Just like encountering the Lord, you know? I think about the moments we spent where you drug my little scrawny tail to the Turner Center at 6 a.m. and made me do pull-ups, which I hated. But then we would drive out to Sardis Lake, and the sun was rising, and the water was still, and the air was crisp, and the Holy Spirit was with us. And we just met Him and consecrated our days to Him. And you taught me in those moments the importance of just encountering Abba early in the day and allowing His love to set on us so that we could go live the rest of what He had for us. And it's something I'm still trying to work my way into. But I just thank you for modeling what it looks like to relate to our loving Father as His Son and to just receive Abba's love. Yes, dude. Freaking laugh about it, dude. It's amazing. So good. It means so much to me. And so I'm really, really grateful for that. I do just, your laugh is great. Your joy, I want to affirm that in you. Lots of other people have talked about the way you speak words of life with authority, your sensitivity to the Spirit, the way you're grounded in the Scriptures. Yes, I wrote about all that in my letter. All that's true, dude. And so I love you so much. I believe in you. I'm really, really grateful for you. I'm also grateful for your bride, Caroline. Same thing as Reed. I have spent more than 3 hours with you, but probably only spent time with you a handful of times, but just feel like I've known you for a really long time. And I echo everything that everyone else has said. It's so encouraging to me as someone who really cares about Stephen, just as it's been for those who really care about you, just to hear the testimony of your friends about who you are and who you've always been and who you've been to them and who I know you're going to be to Stephen. But what I see in you is just such authentic compassion and empathy and a willingness to listen and to engage with people where they are. And you also speak words of life with authority, but you speak so humbly and gently, never to tear down, but always to build up. And that is really, really unique, and it's really, really powerful, and the Lord is going to use that for the kingdom. You're also a really freaking hard worker. You just work your tail off, and that's gonna pay off in every aspect of your life, but especially in your marriage, as y'all continue to do the hard work of relating to another human being who is sinful and needs grace. So I just commend that in you. I'm really, really, really grateful that you're the woman that Stephen gets to marry. What a gift. And so I am on y'all's team. I'm in your corner. I love you so much. I'm praying for you. And just really, really, really looking forward to this ceremony tomorrow. It's the first day. It's the end of this season of like all this anticipation and all the work you've done to get here. And it's the beginning of covenant and joy and blessing and hard work and tears and scary stuff. But you're going to be together. And the Lord's going to be with you, and it's going to be awesome. And you are both amazing individuals, but you truly will be better together. And so, yes and amen. I freaking love y'all. May the Lord bless richly your marriage. It's good to be an Irby, dude. Yes, it is. Cheers to the Irbies.
Hey there, I am Sarah. This is Olivia and Lily. We're Caroline's friends from childhood, middle school, high school, college, present.
All the years.
We're going to be brief. Just want to share very quickly. In high school, we enjoyed listening to an artist named Ben Rector. Y'all are probably familiar with him. And a few years ago, he put out a song called Old Friends. It's really hard for any of us to listen to this song without thinking of our friendships. It really depicts it well. So we thought we would share some of the lyrics tonight to give you a peek into what it's like to be old friends with Caroline. So the first verse says,
We're going to sing.
I can still find Wiley's house riding on my bike with eyes closed. I could name every girl that he took out and from memory dial his house phone. So we could still find Caroline's house on our bikes with our eyes closed because we all live within a 0.2 mile radius of each other. So we stayed on our bicycles back and forth between houses. And we could name every boy that took Caroline out, but we won't. Lastly, it's true we could dial her house phone from memory, 351-0107.
The second verse says, I can still feel the windows down, listening to Jimmy Eat World. Riding 3 wide on Blake's bench seat. My gosh, it's been 10 years now. I would have his back tomorrow, and he'd still fight anyone who tried to touch me. We might not have been listening to Jimmy Eat World, but we did listen to Justin Bieber and Corey Smith. We weren't on a bench seat, but we were crammed in the back of Caro's black VW Jetta. And I can't believe it, but it's truly been more than 10 whole years since we were celebrating our senior year, heading to different colleges and wondering if our friendships would last. Spoiler alert, they did.
The third verse says, and I've got some good friends now, but I've never seen their parents' back porch. I wouldn't change how things turned out, but there's no one in this time zone who knows what inline skates that I wore. We've spent many nights on various parents' back porches. From 15 to present day, we still agree that it's tough to beat a night spent together talking and laughing. I can't remember what type of rollerblades we wore, but Regency Boulevard and Century Court were our go-to tracks. Our friendship is special, we know that, and we're very thankful for you.
The chorus of the song says, because no one knows you like they know you, and no one probably ever will. You can grow up, make new ones, but the truth is there's nothing like old friends. We know that. Carol, there are none like you. We're lucky to call you ours. Stephen, you're very lucky to call her yours. And Stephen, we're glad to have you in our group now. By marrying her, you're welcomed in to a group that is truly bound to be friends for the rest of time. So raise your glass to the Irbies and to old friends.
I'm just going to scurry up here before anybody else cuts me off. Thank you, Lily, for that, cutting me off. For those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Hack Smith. I am Stephen's resident tall friend, so it's been an honor. Stephen and I met freshman year. We joined the same small group. It's this great thing called Sigma Chi, and it's great. 240 guys, real small, really quaint. But from day one of just meeting Stephen, everyone's been speaking of it tonight, just his passion, his energy, his love for the Lord. And Stephen, I can say you showed me a different way to love Jesus. And you did it on a daily basis. You were reckless in it, which is what he calls for. And you really pushed me and drove me to love Jesus better, just by the way that you were a friend to me, you were a friend to everybody here. And so thank you for that. It's your passion, your energy, your humility in that is really just some of the great qualities about you. Humility is one thing you do need to work on, though. You don't need to be humble all the time. Stephen had the great honor of being on an intramural basketball team with me, and it's a bunch of Sigma Chi's trying to play basketball, so odds were stacked against us, and Stephen was the best shooter, yet he never shot the ball. Literally, like, he would be wide open, and he'd be like, I could make this wide open three, or, Josh hasn't scored in a while, let's see if we can get him a shot. I'm like, Stephen, dog, shoot the ball, you're gonna make it. And so, Caroline, you can call him out for that whenever he's playing pickup at church. Make sure he shoots a three. But Stephen, your just pursuit of Jesus has grown on me, it's affected me, and Caroline, I mean, the guy that you're getting to spend the rest of your life with, like, Stephen, you're a great friend, you just are passionate in everything you do, and I know that you're going to be the best husband to Caroline. The families have been praying for y'all for each other their entire life, and we're just so grateful that we get to be a part of this. So here's to the Irbies.
I'm gonna be quick. Hey everyone, I'm Kendall Johnson. I'm a friend of Caroline. I've known Caroline since front row dance parties with her hands in her pants like this with really weird dance moves. I'm also impressed we made it this long that no one has called Caroline weird, because if you don't know her, she is extremely weird. From her weird laughs to her weird cooking habits to her weird running habits. I mean, it's what makes you so uniquely wonderful, though. And I remember this day. First off, she conned me into running a half marathon with her, my one and only. Don't know why I did it. We went, picked up our little signs, walked around. She was like, let's get to this art museum. And I was like, okay. So we walked in this art museum. We admire every single tree on the way. Sat down on a bench, talked about like what we ate, like had the deepest conversation. First off, it was like a random Sunday. I don't know what it was. And I'm well aware that was a very anticlimactic story. Like that was the story of Caroline. But it's the little things that makes it memorable with you. It's like the day-to-day, the sitting down, the talking, the coffee, the packing my suitcase and you help me figure out what to wear. That's what makes you special. It's the little moments that make me who I am and have a special friendship with you. And I just want you to know how valued you are by me and by everyone in this room. And Stephen, now you're valued as well because you have the greatest girl in the whole world. And I'm honestly blessed to have a friendship like yours and have a friend that is so forgiving and full of grace and full of love. So cheers to the Irbies, and thank you, Stephen, for loving her so well.
I'm going rogue. There hasn't been enough from the Irby side of the family, so I'm just going to stand up for 1 second. I am Aunt Kathleen. I am Stephen's aunt. And I heard someone say that Stephen was an extrovert. That was interesting. As a very small child, Stephen was incredibly shy. The extrovert was this little girl sitting at the end of the table. And they literally flipped roles. There's 3 things, Caroline, you need to know about Stephen. The one thing is that food thing, just set your clock because it is a regiment that comes from that man right there. It could be 10 a.m. and he would want to know what they were having for lunch. If there's a Chick-fil-A nearby, you're safe. The second thing is Stephen is going to have an aversion to the Home Depot. It's a big, couple thing, go to the Home Depot on a Saturday. But when Stephen was very little, he decided with a group of friends that it'd be really cool if they didn't have to climb the fence to go get the football. They could just kick some boards out of the fence and just crawl through. Well, my brother got home and said, Stephen, who kicked those boards out of the fence? And Stephen said, well, everybody was doing it. They told me to. You remember this? And Mark said, go get your piggy bank. And they went to the Home Depot, and my mean brother made him break open his piggy bank and buy new boards to put them back in the fence. I think that's about the time he found Jesus. And then the third thing you need to know is Stephen is like his dad. And my brother is like my dad. You're getting a really good one. Cheers.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ian, and I met Stephen my senior year, and then he left me 2 months later to go to Mississippi State. So I think I lived in the same city as Stephen for probably 2 months, and you can see the impact that he had on my life. I was going through a tremendously tough time in my life. My dad passed away, and Stephen was there for me, and he was my rock. And Stephen thankfully introduced me to guys like John Sharp and a guy named Wyatt and a few others, and I was blessed to go to college with Wyatt. But Stephen, I owe everything to you. You challenged me. You asked questions that I didn't want to answer. We stayed in the car too many nights at 4 a.m. and had conversations about who knows what. But Stephen, you challenged me. You grew me. You made me uncomfortable. And that's where growth comes, and I'm forever grateful for that. You are one of the reasons that I'm married to the wife that I am today. We went 7-mile kayak ride, first date, and she still stuck around. I don't know why. But you've been there since day one, and you've given me freedom. You've given me love. You've given me intentionality that I've never had, and I still strive to seek that out today, and I try to imitate that with people. So I thank you for that. Caroline, like these other guys, I haven't been able to spend much time with you, but just from the outside, I can see the grace that you have and just the intentionality that Stephen brings. And I just can't wait to see the things y'all do for the Lord and for each other. And I just can't wait to see y'all be servants. And I just can't wait to look up to you. And like Reed said, I hope we all end up in the same city one day to where we can live out our lives together. Hopefully, maybe in the South, maybe not California. So once again, Stephen, thank you, and cheers to the Irbies. So.
I'm not going to sing. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we just love and adore you guys, and just every time we think about our friends and think about people we love, the people that are close to us, people that have supported us, and individually and together, we just look back. I'm just looking out and seeing all of these different faces and just stories and history with just each of you. It's just super, super awesome. And we're just so grateful for y'all. And thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for celebrating with us. Thank y'all for joining us and coming around us. And Caroline, I can't wait for tomorrow. You are the most amazing human I've ever known, and I cannot wait to marry you. So Yes. Here's to the Irbies, and thank y'all for coming. So yeah, that's a wrap. And yeah, y'all are free to hang out, just, yeah, do your thing. And we'll see you tomorrow. So yeah.